Hey guys.
Hi, I'm Stefanie Campbell.
And I'm Kelly Dugan.
Whether you're buying, selling, or just curious on the ins and outs of the real estate world, you've come to the right place.
What are we going to talk about on this podcast?
Everything, duh.
You name it, we cover it.
Tune in weekly as we bring you insightful conversations with industry experts, success stories, horror stories, and definitely some laughs along the way.
All right, welcome to Realtor Therapy
We think so.
or Real Estate Therapy. We don't know.
We're gonna put a little poll on our Instagram and see what people like better.
My only problem with Realtor Therapy is I have to think about it before I say it because it's a little bit of a tongue twister.
We don't want that. We don't want that. But
Try to say it 5 times fast.
realtor therapy. I can't do it. But I don't know. We're just moving and grooving, man. Whatever we think, you know.
I had a story that I wanted to talk about on here that just happened on one of my listings that were multiple offers.
Yes.
So now you guys, as you guys know, with all of these new rules to, the buyer broker agreements and all these things that you need to have something in writing before you even open the door and show a property to anybody. So what this is kind of, well, I guess this has always been a thing. It's always been a thing to where people think, I'm not going to hire a realtor to help me find a house because that's going to be my leverage and I'm going to call the listing agent directly and I'm going to save the seller some money and that's going to be my incentive. That has
No,
been...
they're not trying to save the seller money. They're trying to save themselves money.
Well, yes, but I feel like they look at it in a sense of like everyone wins. Like I save money, the seller saves money.
You're talking about from a multiple offer standpoint.
Yeah.
But if there's not multiple offers, these buyers think they're saving the seller money by going directly to them, and it's not.
No, yeah, and that's not true. That's the mindset, though. It's not whether it's true or not. That is, what a lot of buyers think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a really hot property. It was super cute, updated townhouse in Mokina, and we had an open house, which I had an agent out of our office host the open house, and about 15 minutes after the open house ended, I get a call from a buyer and she's like, hi Kelly, I just went to the open house. And she was so sweet. I really like your listing. I think I want to see it again and I want to, potentially submit an offer and yada yada. And at this point we have like 2 offers in hand and then we just had the open house. So we're kind of expecting more. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And, just to make sure that, no one's stepping on anyone's toes here. I'm like, are you working with a realtor? She's like, no, I'm not. We just want to, and then all of a sudden, like literally her dad like took the phone from her and got on the phone with me and was like, no, Kelly, we're not working with any realtor, nor do we plan to, that's, we're
Can
hoping.
I just say something? Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I really hope that when my kids, and I mean, I don't want to say this, but like, I hope when how old was this woman? Girl?
Mid-30s.
Yeah. I hope when my children reach their mid-30s that I'm not stepping in to speak for them. Like this, I mean, literally, like, make your own doctor's appointments, become an adult, like, learn, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
I felt so...
These helicopter parents, I'm like, you are literally crippling your children from growing up.
Yes. I felt so bad for this buyer. So then of course, like I always ask first, are they working with a realtor? And that's not me trying to like wiggle my way in and do all this, but I need to know, especially with these new rules, if you have a realtor or not, because if you want to see this property and I'm showing it to you, I need something either stating that I am not representing you, or I need something showing if you want, and I even said this, I said, are you looking for an agent to represent you? Because if that's the case, I'm happy to connect you with, the agent who hosted the open house for me. Because I'll be honest, if I have a random client call my number from my sign about my listing and they don't have an agent, I don't really want to hire them as a buyer, or I don't really want them to hire me as their agent because I have no past relationship with them. And this is something me and you kind of can be a little bit different on. I don't like dual agency in that aspect. Dual agency is when obviously you represent both the buyer and the seller. Where I don't mind dual agency and where I do feel like it makes more sense is if, just say I've been working with, Sue, and I've showed her 50 houses, and then my listing pops up and she happens to be interested in that. That to me, dual agency is justifiable because I have this relationship with Sue. I have a buyer broker agreement with Sue. I've spent ample time with Sue, and now she likes my listing. Whereas if a random client calls me, it's a little bit, it's different. I want to either, if they want representation, which I always recommend, if they want an agent to help them through the inspection process. I asked her if she had bought a home before, and she has not, so she didn't really know much. I'm like, do you want representation? Do you want an agent? And that was when her dad was like, no, we don't need an agent. And I'm like, okay, well, before I show you this, then you just need to sign a form that states I'm not your agent. Pretty simple. That's fine. Like all you have to do is sign this no agency form, because now with these new rules, you need something signed before an agent can show you a property, whether it's my listing or not. So I was like, this is what you'll have to sign. So basically with the no agency disclosure states, which Stefanie has it in front of her.
I do. Sorry, I was texting my attorney from my watch. Hi, Jason. Okay. This is the best summary, and we should make this like an Instagram post.
Yeah.
This is so good. I don't think people realize, like you just said, what we cannot do if we don't do dual agency. And I was just explaining this to a seller of mine too. So, assist buyer to develop favorable offer terms in dual agency.
No.
Again, but if it's a multiple offer situation, I want to state, I can tell them the facts, and the facts are, here's what you're allowed to do in multiple offers, or here's the options for you, and you can kind of lay out their options for them and them to pick those options. If you were my buyer existing, we would have already had our buyer meeting, and you'd already know what those options are. So that would be different. Educate buyer on market conditions. In dual agency, yes, you can do that. Keep buyers' information confidential. Yes, this is very important. In dual agency, the buyer or the seller's information, we cannot share without permission from either party. So think of us like an attorney. The information you give us is confidential. Do CMA for a buyer? Yes. Do CMA and advise on price? No. So we cannot tell you what price you should offer. You have to come up with that price by yourself. Tell buyers seller's bottom line? No. Again, that goes back to the confidential part. Advise buyer on home inspections and issues. This is limited, so that's probably a gray area. Disclose to buyer the seller's motive to sell? No. Discuss with the seller how much to counter? No. Tell seller how high the buyer is willing to go? No. Disclose that the seller's buyer's motivation? No. Receive compensation on both sides of the transaction? Yes. The thing that I really want to stress is if you sign does it say anything about writing the offer in here?
And this is, again, I feel like we're a little, because you just named all the dual agency aspects, and I'm talking about this specific being no agency, because this dad basically was like, no, we don't want an agent. I'm like, okay, perfect. You just have to sign something that says I'm not your agent. And all of those things that Stefanie went through, she was saying dual agency, not no agency. But pretty much for all of those things that she just said, if you sign a paper saying no agency, that means all of those things pretty much are no, in the sense of I cannot do a CMA for you. I'm not your agent. I cannot do all these things. And again, if you want an agent who wants to educate you on how to make a compelling offer, or to run comps to see how it's priced, or to educate you on the market conditions or the inspection process, and yada, 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 all of the things that we do during the process, and you're going to choose no agency. So you're going to come in as a first-time home buyer with a dad who's hovering you, saying, no, we don't want an agent. And then he goes, I was like, okay, well, do you have an attorney that's going to write up your offer? Oh, well, we could pull that together. And I'm like, okay, well, make sure, are you going to attach a pre-approval? He's like, she's solid. She's got like $40,000 to put down. I'm like, well, that's wonderful. I'm not going to advise my sellers to take anyone's word on that. So I'm going to need, you guys to talk to a lender and get a pre-approval issued. And he's like acting like discombobulated. Like, well, we'll do that eventually. Like, you don't need that now, right? I'm like, I cannot I cannot advise my clients to take an offer on anyone's word. And he's like, well, we could probably even pay cash for it. I go, wonderful. Can you show me proof of funds? Like, I'm going to still need something. Now, mind you, the offers are piling up for this house. I have 4 offers right now that are over list price. They have a very professional agent on there that's writing up everything perfectly, and they're ready and they're solid and they're good to go. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do obviously what's in the best interest for my sellers. And I'm going to show this client the house. I sent her the no agency agreement simply.
Well, and again, that was probably confusing, but I just want to reiterate that I went through the dual agency line with no agency. Like, you literally, these were all no. So educate buyer on market conditions, no. Keep buyer's information confidential, no. So meaning,
because no offense,
if that,
we have no relationship.
So let me just reiterate the fact that this person that wants to sign a notice of no agency, there's no confidentiality then. So that person saying that they don't yet have a pre-approval, what's Kelly going to do? She's going to call her seller and say, hey, seller, just so you know, these people don't have a pre-approval yet.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean? Because there's no confidentiality then. Like, that's what, like, people are signing these no agency agreements because they think they're going to save themselves money, and they're costing themselves money because
you're just deterring the process of you finding a house. Honestly,
you can't, you literally can't do anything. Like, there's no CMA, there's no advising, like, there's just nothing.
And there's a little pool of buyers out there that honestly probably could easily do no agency and it work in their favor. I'm not trying to make this a super biased realtor podcast of like, no, like, there's some savvy buyers out there who have, who have bought and sold multiple times, who have an attorney in their back pocket who's going to write up an offer, and they know how to do it. And for those buyers out there, by all means, go for it. If you're prepared and you have your shit together, I'm not going to,
I completely disagree because literally, like, I just had a showing
Get closer to the mic.
I just had a showing with another realtor to buy one of my listings. Like, she's a realtor, been a realtor for 20 years or something crazy. And she was like, oh my God, I feel like I need a realtor. And it's again, and the same reason when I go to sell my house, I'm going to need Kelly to consult me. When you're this close to the deal, you can't manage yourself. You can't manage your own emotions.
Right.
Like, no.
So he was so just beyond like, nope, we don't want an agent, this and that. And I went through that list that Stefanie just went through. I'm like, just so you know, because he's asking me all of these questions just about price and like how many offers and is there room on price and like this and that. And I'm like, let me send you this because this is going to go over what I cannot do for you if you are choosing to have no agency. Mm-hmm. If you want, again, reiterating, if you want agency, I'm not saying it has to be me. I'm just saying I can refer an agent to you to help you during this process. Yeah. And so then I sent them that, and I was like, I'll meet you guys at my listing at 10 a.m. And I'm telling my sellers all of this, and they don't even want me to show it the next day. They're like, we have 3, 4, whatever it was, offers on the table that are super strong, and it seems like that the realtors are going to be pleasantly great to work with. We don't even want you to. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I kind of felt, honestly, a little bit of a bleeding heart for the buyer, the girl who called me, because she was so nice. And I could totally tell that she was a little embarrassed of her dad. So at this point, they're aware there's multiple offers, strong multiple offers, and they are meeting me at the property the next day. So I pull up. I sent them the notice of no agency. They said they were going to sign it. And then I'm on my way there. She texts me. She's like, hey, Kelly, I'm going to print this and sign it with you in person. So I'm like, okay. So she doesn't want to sign it. Whatever. At this point, I'm like, I just need to show them just to say that I did the most I could for my sellers and yada, yada. So the dad comes in and he just completely ruined every single chance for her. Like, just talking about realtors, and like, he's like, I don't know why you can't share information with me and act like I'm her realtor as the same way that you would share information to another realtor who had buyers that they submitted. And I'm like, these are the rules. Like, I don't break the rules. Honestly, this is like literally this is my living. This is the laws.
I'm going to risk my license for you, Mr. Dad.
And then on top of it, for the second showing, as he knows we have 4 strong offers, he's going through and nitpicking everything. Oh yeah, this deck needs work, or oh this. And in my head, I'm like, in what world does he think that in multiple offers we are going to go with, like, how big of a pain in the ass he was? And again, very psychological, very emotional process. My sellers were so annoyed. My seller came home after. She's like, I'm not kidding you. On the Ring camera, I wanted to just be like, let's just cancel this. We're done. Like, she's like, I did not like that man in my house. He was nitpicking everything. And then I just feel so bad because then the buyer sends me a text message and was like, thank you so much for meeting with us. I'm going to call a real estate attorney today and have him write up an offer. And she ended up submitting a full list price offer, sent by an attorney. All great. She ended up calling a lender. She had a pre-approval. So she did the things. But I so badly, and I've honestly even thought about it because this has been a couple weeks now, I so badly wanted to reach out to her and just be like, your dad is going to ruin every single chance that you have at buying a home. And that's what he told me. He told me their tactic is they just gonna go to open houses and then they contact the listing agent directly. And they're like, yeah, because then it could be cheaper for everybody if I just contact the listing agent directly. And again, maybe in a crazy world or scenario that could be, I'm not saying that's an absolute, but when you have multiple offers and all of them are strong, it's in a hot area, it's a great budget, it's not going to work in your favor. If I have 4 agents who are submitting offers for well-qualified buyers and they're a professional on their end, why would I want to choose a non-represented buyer with honestly a pain in the ass dad, and they have no guidance in their corner? They have no realtor in their corner, no one to be a point of contact for me to call to keep this ship moving along. So it's like, where does that benefit me? Like, I would rather, and my clients were netting more paying the other agents. We ran all the numbers. So that unrepresented buyer who came in at full list price, obviously they didn't request that my sellers pay a buyer agent because they didn't have one. But then we did, we did all the math with the other offers and they were netting significantly more while paying the buyer's agent. So it's not what you think in that aspect. And not having a realtor, especially if you're competing in a competitive market, is only going to slow your process down of finding a home. That's it.
No, that was a really good story.
Thanks.
Basically, don't do that.
No.
That was silly.
What do you feel about dual agency?
I'm fine with it. I am fine with it as long as everybody understands it. And I know myself, and am I hesitant on, I trust myself. I trust you. There's a lot of great realtors out there that I trust wholeheartedly and I think are very good people. But
I want a professional on the other side. That is how deals go smooth. That's how they make it to the closing table. That's how we all mitigate. There's so many fires that we put out behind closed doors with the other agents. And if I had to deal with her freaking dad for all of that, kill me.
No, I want to say that I definitely don't prefer it. I definitely don't
hate it.
Yeah, I would say I don't like it, but on my listings, I wouldn't recommend somebody to sign no, because just why would you close that option off, right?
I think it's a bridge you cross when you come to it.
It happens this much. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen that much. For the times that it happens, I trust myself to be ethical and know that I can make it be done in a kosher way, but I definitely don't prefer it. Now, is every realtor the same? Obviously not. There's some shicey people out there that I would not want to be doing dual agency for. So my recommendation to anybody is to go out and hire your own realtor on the buy side.
Yes.
Yeah. End of story.
End of story.
Okay. That was a good little...
All right, that's it.
That was a good little therapy session.
That was. And I still think about reaching out to the poor girl because she's going on open houses left and right with her freaking dad, who is being king deal killer for her. And I feel bad for her, but I guess the more she loses, maybe it'll open up a light. But I'm like, he just completely killed every single chance for her getting this house. So,
okay.
Dads.
God,
I love them in real estate.
I know. Come on, dude. Anyway, all right.
All right, that's all you got.
Okay,
bye. Thanks for listening.
Tune in weekly for new episodes.
Follow the link in the show notes to answer our survey and have your topics talked about on Realtor Talk with Steph and Kel.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
Ciao.